Hi all, for the second lesson of this week, we're going to talk about angle pairs. So for this first one, pretty much the first video, it's pretty much a repeat just of the definitions of the last one. Although we are defining some of the words I just kind of briefly went over. So we're going to talk about complementary and supplementary just briefly, and then a few new words. So I just wanted to start by saying that, so don't be like, oh, we already learned this. You will be learning some new things along with it. The first two are just really short, so don't go away. I do also want to say this: you are going to be doing a lot of matching and being able to define these words. You need to make sure you know the definition. So I would be writing these down if I were you as you go along. And you can pause this video if I'm going too fast. So here we go. Or you can print off the notes, which I'm going to attach to the lesson. So they are attached in there for you. Okay. So here we go. So we're going to define what a special angle pair is, and that is two angles that have a special relationship. Really easy, right? Two angles that have a special relationship. Okay, so pretty easy, but there's several different types of these special angle pairs that we're going to talk about. And so that's what we're going to move on and do. So the first one is one that we've kind of already talked about, which is complementary angles. And complementary angles are two angles that add up to be 90 degrees. Right. So we've got that. And just really quick to go over briefly, how do I know that they add up to be 90? Well, I take my two angles, 31 and 59, I add them together, and 31 degrees plus 59 degrees should add up to 90 degrees. So that's how I can verify. And they don't need to be touching as long as it's only two angles and they add up to be 90. So that's a complementary angle. Our next definition is supplementary angles. And those are two angles that add to equal 180 degrees. Okay, and how do we verify that? Again, we do the same thing. We add them together. So it says add. So I can take 42 and add that to 138, and I should get 180 degrees. There we go. So that means that those two angles are supplementary, and they do not have to be touching again, or they don't have to be sharing a side. And this comes to our first new definition that we just kind of briefly touched on last time. Okay, so we're going to spend a little bit more time talking about the next three words. So adjacent angles. They're two angles that share a vertex and a common side. Okay, they are side by side, so they're touching. So if you notice, they have a common vertex. They all meet at the same point. Okay, and they share a common side, so they have a side in common. There you go. And that's what adjacent angles mean. They're touching each other. Touching. Ooh. Love it when I forget that I'm in highlighter mode. Touching each other by a side, right? So they share a side. And that's what adjacent angles mean. So you have to keep that in mind, that they share a side. So our next one is called vertical angles. So vertical angles are two opposite angles formed by intersecting lines. They are congruent. So we're going to talk about a few of these words. Congruent. Okay, so let's first talk about the first line. So they're two opposite angles formed by intersecting lines. So if you look at our picture here, we have one line here and we have one line here. So where are my opposite angles? Well, I have one angle here and one angle here. They're opposite of each other. They share a vertex, they're opposite of each other. And then I have one angle here and I have one angle here. And then I need to know, well, what does congruent mean? Well, what does the word congruent mean? What does congruent mean? Congruent means equal in size, similar in shape. So sorry. Similar in shape, I'm going to say it backwards. Similar in shape, equal in size. Oh, that's so not the word in. Equal in size. So that means they have the same measurement. They're equal to each other, so they have the same measurement. So that's what the word congruent means. So just kind of keep that in mind as we go along. And then the last word we kind of briefly touched on also last lesson is called a linear pair. They're two angles that form a line, and they are adjacent and supplementary. Okay, so they're adjacent because they share a side right here, and they're supplementary because they form a line, right? They equal 180. This angle, let's say angle X and then angle Y, they're supplementary because angle X plus angle Y equals 180 because a straight line measures 180 degrees. So that's why they're supplementary. So those are our main words that we have to talk about. So what you're going to do now is you're going to go basically on the work and you're just going to match stuff. So I'm going to give you an example of one of these. Well, you're going to get a picture and you're going to say what they are. You're going to say, are they complementary? Are they supplementary? Are they adjacent? Are they vertical? Are they a linear pair? Or are they a combination of? I could have something that's complementary and adjacent. Okay, I can have something that's a linear pair, supplementary, and vertical angles in the picture. So you're just going to have to kind of match them up. That's why you needed to write the definitions down. I kind of zoomed back out a little bit. So if you needed to, you could pause it and take a picture of the screen so you have the definitions with you. So there you go. Go ahead and do that work, and then we will be back with you with the second set of definitions, and we're going to probably do about the same thing again. Okay, we'll see you back in a little bit.